There is a place, there is a moment, there is a feeling, an escape from your ordinary way. There is a place, there is a time, there is a reason to make today an extraordinary day. Look what you're missing, look what you're missing. There's a world for you to see, paradise to set you free. Look what you're missing, look what you're missing. Come along, I'll take you there, an adventure we can share. There is a place.
So this time on Look What You're Missing, we're carrying on with our journey, which we've called simply to Sutherland. And in this episode, we're going to be travelling north across the Roggeveld before we drop back down to the Tankwa, and a place where burning stuff is actually encouraged at a certain time of year.
And what a place to start a new episode. However, it is fairly remote and not the best place or area to have a fall and damage something, potentially ending your trip.
Because even a small fall can damage your bike if you don't have the right protection fitted.
So let's start off by having a look at what we should be fitting to these bikes to offer a reasonable amount of protection for both the motorcycle and us. We visited the guys from Rockfox Adventure Systems, who both design and manufacture various items for your bike.
Hello, I'm Mike Ardendorf from Rockfox Adventure Systems. Today we'll be talking about a few items you can basically bolt to your bike. Some protect the bike, others make the ride more comfortable, and some do a bit of both. The nice thing about these items is you can add them as you have the means to, or you can have them added when purchasing a new bike and include them in the vehicle finance. We'll start with items that make the ride a little bit more comfortable when spending long days in the saddle, and the first thing people begin to experiment with is a better screen. A windscreen not only shields the rider from the wind and weather, it also enhances the experience by combating fatigue and reducing noise levels. Unfortunately, it's not a one-size-fits-all scenario, so do some extensive research before you purchase, as many riders have gone through the expensive exercise of purchasing a few screens that did not work for them. Handguards not only protect your hands and levers in case of a fall, they also keep the cold wind, bugs and other debris off your hands. Look for ones with a metal core or base. Wider or larger area foot pegs are just more comfortable when spending long periods of time standing. It's as simple as that. Here you can see we have a raised rear back brake. This is accomplished either by replacing the entire unit or by adding a bolt-on section. This makes it much easier to reach and operate while standing and riding. A side stand enlarger just makes it easier to park the bike in loose and uneven terrain, much less chance of it falling over. There are a few things we can add to the bikes for protection, and some of them have more than just one function. So let's start with the bash plate. A well-fitting bash plate protects the engine case, header pipes, oil filter and catalytic converter. A folding gear lever tip can save you a lot of hassle should you fall on this side of the bike. Imagine being stuck miles away from anywhere with a broken lever. This is essential. Crash bars. Well, the name says it all. They prevent damage to the bike and the rider in the event of a fall. Look for a design with balanced mounting points. This will limit flexing and possible damage in the event of a fall. Function is key over form here. Luggage racks or pannier racks are really just crash bars in disguise. Along with carrying your luggage neatly and safely, they protect the rear of a bike in the event of a fall. Here you need to look for a rear brace, as this drastically strengthens them. Lastly, headlight protectors. Now they don't only protect the headlight in the event of stones being flung into your path, they also help with visibility during traffic and various weather conditions. But please, make sure they're removable for nighttime riding. Well, that's about that. If you have any questions with bike protection, please get a hold of us and we'll gladly assist. Otherwise, keep the black stuff down and have fun.
And from here, it's not very far to our accommodation for the night, a place called Bleesfontein, where silence, wide open spaces, and the galaxy above are just the norm. So, let's get going.
Bleesfontein Guest Farm is the home of Nicol and Marina van der Merwe and is situated 28 kilometers southwest of Sutherland. Just about on the edge of the Great Escarpment that separates the Karoo from the Roggeveld, an area that stretches in a broad swathe north from Sutherland towards the tiny hamlet of Middelpos and onwards towards Calvinia. It's the perfect home away from home, in the perfect location.
Blesfontein is also the perfect base to explore the little town of Sutherland, and today is all about that.
Yep, we have a pretty busy day lined up today because not only do we want to have a look around Sutherland, but we also want to make sure we're back here in time to have a good look around the farm. And tonight we want to be on the escarpment to watch the sunset because that comes highly recommended.
We've also asked Marina to cook us one of her famous farm cooked dinners, so we have that to look forward to as well.
The little town of Sutherland lies in the Roggeveld on top of the Great Karoo escarpment. Early explorers in the 1700s and early 1800s considered the Roggeveld to be very suitable for sheep farming, and so pioneer farmers trekked immense distances over intimidating mountain ranges to settle in the area, and stay settled despite numerous clashes with the Khoi and San people. Originally part of the Worcester district, the Dutch Reformed Church bought the farm De List to serve the growing population in the area. And in 1857, the Worcester Municipal Council instructed that De List be divided into 50 properties, which could be sold to private individuals to form a church town named after the Reverend Henry Sutherland. In 1858, the cornerstone of the first church was laid, and in November that same year, the first properties were sold off and the little village of Sutherland officially became a dot on the map of southern Africa.
Now, Sutherland is well known for its warm hospitality, cold and snowy winters, starlit skies and dramatic landscapes.
There's also so much fantastic history, unique natural assets and various outdoor activities that makes it a fairly popular destination for all seasons.
While exploring Sutherland and the Roggeveld should definitely be on your itinerary when visiting this area, make sure you allocate a decent amount of time to explore Blesfontein itself, because there's plenty to do during the day, and the freedom of this working farm is yours to enjoy, and you can get a real taste of farm life if you like.
Ek is gebore in Vryseburg en daar groot geword en toe het ons hierdie familiegrond uitgekoop in 1981. Hoofdoel is maar skaapboerdery. Ek is 'n dorpsboer, hoofsaaklik die vleisras, die skaap wat ons mee boer. Omdat ons geweldig probleme het met jakkalse en rooi katte, is daar baie maniere. Kyk, ons wil nie ontslaaf van hulle raak, ons wil hulle net beheer.
Jy sit hier 'n alpaka saam met 'n klompie skaap in die veld, dan het die alpaka nie alpaka vriende nie, dan moet hy vriende maak met die skaap en hy beskerm sy vriende. Hy storm op die jakkals af en skop en spoeg hom. Ons is albei baie lief vir die natuur en lief vir diere, so mense probeer so omgewingsvriendelik as moontlik boer. Jy probeer om nie soveel as moontlik nie gifstowwe te gebruik nie.
Ons was die derde gastehuis of plaas wat in die dorp en in die distrik opgemaak het. Ek dink as ek korrek het, is hier iets soos 64 al wat bestaan.
As die gesinne reg saamgestel is dat dit pare met die regte hoeveelheid kinders is, kan ons seker 35 mense slaan. Omdat ons so ver uit die dorp is, die naaste restaurant is 28 km grondpad, so baie mense verkies maar om by ons te eet.
As die persone wil self kuiter, is hulle baie welkom om dit te doen.
Ja, ons probeer mense die ervaring gee asof hulle self vir die naweek op die plaas woon. Die kindertjies kan die hoenders kos gee, die kindertjies kan eiers gaan soek en hulle kan die duikerbokkie kos gee en perdry en in die dam swem.
Ja, dat is nou maar die natuurlewe vir die wat bietjie weier wil op die plaas rondry. As jy welkom op die plaas rondry en dan die ander wild soos springbokke, blesbokke, swartwillebeeste, blouwillebeeste, zebras, valrabokke ensovoorts nog op die plaas te kyk as hulle eie voertuig het. Is hulle welkom om.
Nou, mense wat 'n bietjie beter perdry kan ons uitneem om die wild van die perd se rug af te gaan kyk. Dan kan 'n mens lekker naby aan die wild kom.
En ook 'n ding wat deesdae al hoe meer gewild raak is bergfietsery.
Ek dink Nika se sterrewag is een van die grootste toeriste attraksies op die plaas. Want daar's nog 'n paar plase wat amper dieselfde bied as ons, maar nie een van hulle het 'n sterrewag. Baie min mense is bewus van die blomme in ons omgewing, veral hierdie Roggeveld gedeelte waarop ons bly. In lentetyd is ons oortrek van die veelkleurige blomme, amper 'n groter verskeidenheid as Namakwa.
So today we sort of start our journey for home, but it's not all bad. Later today we get to ride down another fantastic mountain pass, and then later tonight well, I have a little surprise lined up for him.
His last surprise involved road bikes, and I know where we're going, so I really hope this time it's something different.
It sure is, Henk. Anyway, from here we head for the little settlement of Middelpos, famous for boerboele amongst other things, and then later on it's back down to the Lunalike Tankwa using a very desolate piece of road known as the Hanekam Pass.
And the views from the top of that are absolutely mind-blowing.
The Hanekam Pass was set out by the Bain family and built as part of a public works program during the Great Depression, which was felt worldwide between 1929 and 1933. The Hanekam Pass has got to be one of the top 10 passes in the land for adventure travelers, based on pure enjoyment. The harmonious curves of the pass itself, combined with raw mountain beauty, make this a pass everyone should traverse at least once in their lifetime.
Well, this trip has just been absolutely awesome so far, but it's not over quite yet. From here, we're heading to a place called Stonehenge. And no, we're not getting on a plane for England anytime soon.
We have our own Stonehenge right here in the Tankwa, and as you're going to find out, it's one of the most interesting places out here. And it also has a rather unusual calendar of events. We've just arrived at the Tankwa tented camp on the farm Stonehenge, and basically the plan is to set camp, get comfortable, then we're going to show you an interview we did with Henk van Niekerk, who owns this place, and later we're going to show you one of the more unique experiences you can have on this farm.
But first, we want to show you what camping gear we usually carry. Sleep or rest can either make or break a journey. And as we've just finished setting up camp, let's have a quick look at what we carry with us to make sure we have a decent night's rest.
And because it's our biggest carry item, we're going to start with the tent. Now, if you're a young adventure rider or possibly an old hardcore adventure rider, maybe one of those little one-man tents or a sleeping tube is going to do the trick. But it just doesn't hold any appeal for me. Now, I love camping, but I reckon there's no need to leave all the luxury at home just because you're traveling on a motorcycle.
You often hear guys talk about weight on the bikes and the need to keep it to a minimum. And they are correct to some extent. But for me, the obsession with weight can have detrimental and uncomfortable consequences. The pros far outweigh the cons of carrying an extra 2 kilograms to make sure you have a decent tent and sleeping gear.
I'll weigh in here, Henk, if you'll excuse the pun, because, well, I already carry much more weight than most of my riding buddies, if you know what I mean. But seriously, 99% of the time I travel with my wife, and we found that for two people, a two-man tent is just too small, and a three-man tent, in fact, suits our needs perfectly. The chances are high that at some point you'll get caught camped out in the open with no other shelter and the weather will catch you out. This tent is not only big enough for the two of us, but also our kit if need be. And if we do get trapped in here for a couple of hours by the weather, well, we won't be getting in each other's way too much.
This particular tent has 2 outside compartments where you can store bags, boots and other gear you don't necessarily want inside the tent. It's got a separate rain sheet that you can leave off in summer, allowing any cool evening air in. It's got good ventilation, and the rain sheet can be left standing up while you pack the tent away and all your gear underneath it if it's raining.
Another very important item needed for a good night's sleep is a sleeping bag. And here, unfortunately, you're going to get exactly what you pay for. There's a reason you get -8 sleeping bags for 400 Rand and -8 sleeping bags for 4,000 Rand.
If you camp often and through all seasons, invest in a good down sleeping bag. In summer, you can just leave it open and sleep on top of it, but it'll really come into its own when the cold months arrive.
That's the last thing you need, is to be cold while you're trying to sleep, especially if you have a long day on the bike planned for the next day. So don't get caught out lying awake at night, freezing cold, wishing you'd spent more money on a decent sleeping bag.
The 3 main criteria I look at when buying a bag are temperature rating, roominess versus weight, and the type of insulation. And for me, a down feather bag wins all categories hands down. The most important item I need for a decent night's sleep is a good pillow. Bad pillow equals bad sleep. As simple as that.
Absolutely, and a while ago I came across this really awesome combination. You take one Granny Goose pillow and you combine it with one of these memory foam pillows, and you'll have all the comfort and support you could ever hope for. And as you can see, it packs down into these 2 small items which can be squashed in just about anywhere. Along with that, most bikers I know will use a self-inflating mattress similar to this one. They're actually quite comfortable, they're lightweight, and they don't take up much packing space at all. The other advantage of this is that you don't need to carry an extra pump with you because, as the name suggests, it self-inflates. You just need to come along at the end and add a couple of breaths.
Now a great trick is to put the mattress inside the sleeping bag. This way you don't lose it during the night. It also helps keep the warmth inside the bag. You can also use one of these sleeping bag liners that helps with both warmth and comfort.
Well, Hank, that doesn't really work for us bigger guys. So as you can see, I recently upgraded our mattresses to these. They're much thicker and they're both longer and wider. And the extra bit of packing space I need is well worth the comfort that I have at night.
Well, if you find you've got space for a bigger mattress, you might consider getting one of these lightweight camp stretchers available. The best known at the moment would be the ATG Rib Stretcher that comes in at about 1.6 kilograms. And the new arrival to the market, the Helinox Cot 1, that weighs about 2.3 kilograms. And again, you can decide if carrying that extra little bit of weight is worth a brilliant night's sleep.
And seeing as we're now expanding our little discussion about our home away from home on the weekends to include furniture, let's have a look at a camp chair. So first off, there is no better way to end your day on a bike than by relaxing in front of the fire with a cold one in your hand. And while most accommodation venues offer some form of seating, whether it be chairs or benches in the campsite, a lot don't. So if you want to make sure you have a comfortable chair, you need to take it with you. Now in the old days, us motorcyclists were almost forced to use one of these tripod stooly things. But just like a single pair of underpants on a multi-day motorcycle trip, they aren't actually very nice. Luckily for us, there are much better products available today.
Now this little chair is also made by Helinox, and while they've got a few different sizes available, we are concentrating on the chair 1. Because for us motorcyclists, it's probably the easiest to pack because of its size. I mean, just look at it, it's the size of a packet of crisps.
And while Henk puts this chair together, or rather while Henk almost watches this chair put itself together, I'm going to tell you another few reasons why I recently bought 2 of these. First of all, it comes in at 960 grams packed in the bag, yet it has a carrying capacity of 145 kilograms, so it's even safe for us slightly overweight guys. And also, it's extremely comfortable, whether you're lounging back in it like a deck chair, or using it as a stool to prepare food, or whatever.
It is a little on the expensive side, about the same price as a rear tire for one of these motorcycles. But unlike a motorcycle tire that you might have to replace fairly often depending on your riding style, this is a once-off purchase that'll probably last a lifetime. So in that context, is it really that expensive?
I reckon if you get yourself down to your local dealer and put your backside in one of these, you'll think not.
So that's our personal take on a great night's rest. And as with everything else in the world of adventure biking or motorcycle travel, it's all about your wants and needs. So don't rush out and buy things that'll later spend all year sitting on a shelf in your garage.
So do some research, visit a couple of shops and use the internet. There is a wealth of information available on the World Wide Web. Here in South Africa, for example, you can visit the Wild Dog Adventure Riding or Roam Africa forums, where good advice is available from literally thousands of experienced bikers.
Yep, these days it's actually quite easy to learn from folks that's already made the mistake, so you don't necessarily have to.
Happy camping.
Stonehenge is set in possibly the driest and least populated area of South Africa, about halfway between Ceres and Kalfinia in the Tankwa Karoo.
Me and a friend of mine 13 years ago were on a bike trip on our own. We came down Hanekam Pass, and for the first time I saw that area, which is so close to Cape Town actually, and I said to him, this is Damaraland at our doorstep. And I said to him, I'm going to buy myself a farm here. The moment I drove up that hill, I got that feeling. That place has got a different hard, harsh feeling. The moment I got reception, I phoned the guy, I bought the farm. With no plans, with no nothing, just with passion. That's it. That's what happened. In the beginning, we just went there on weekends with tents. There was nothing. My mission with that place from the beginning until today, it's not a money thing. That place is my passion. I mean, nobody knew about the Tankwa 10 years ago. The moment I drive through the Karoo Poort and you're on that gravel, it's like there's no signal, and everything just is in that. I'm addicted to that mode. I don't know what you call it. If you go there for one night, you come back and it feels like you've been gone for a week, because it clears your mind. That I don't know what it is, but I think the harshness of that place talks to you. You understand, there you understand the simple things in life again. It grows in your bloodstream, that thing. It's addictive. Once it's in your blood, it's done. I think it's the feeling that you get when you come here. that total away from everything, no cell phone, connect with your roots a bit, I think. That's all I can say. I don't know.
Stonehenge is also pretty famous for the AfrikaBurn, or some people know it as the Burning Man. It is basically Africa's most unusual, unique, exhilarating and mind-blowing festival.
Thousands of people attend every year. They get dressed up in elaborate costumes and body paint, build structures and artworks that reach for the sky and also fills the desert floor.
I've never been to AfrikaBurn before. I guess it's still right up there on the bucket list, but I am intrigued by the structures the folks build just to come and burn down again. Luckily for us, they don't burn everything every year, so there's always something to come and have a look at.
People always ask me, what is AfrikaBurn? What, describe AfrikaBurn. And for me, AfrikaBurn is somewhere between fairyland and the whole Mad Max thing.
It's something you really have to experience. Been out in the desert for a week with no commercialization, no phones, nothing to buy.
It's all about dressing up. It's all about self-expression. It's about getting out there and kind of doing the things that you wouldn't normally do. And most of all, I think it's an incredibly visual experience. You go from partying in one corner to just admiring structures in the next.
The organizers of AfrikaBurn almost set up like a town. There's little suburbs, there's a quiet zone.
But it's not a crowded place. It's a weird kind of thing. The Binnekring itself is huge. Mutant vehicles are the only vehicles other than bicycles that are allowed inside the Binnekring. You can sit all day and just watch the mutant vehicles coming past. It's an engineering feast.
The really big structures take about a year to build, and they stay in the desert for a year and then they're tortured. So one structure will go up for this year, everyone will admire it, and then next year you go back and they'll burn it.
It means different things to different people. Some people see it as a very spiritual kind of burning away whatever it is they need to have burnt away.
A bicycle is ideal to get around because you'll be at one camp or at a party and you think, oh, this is amazing, and you walk on and you want to go back to the party you're enjoying, but you realize it's like 2 kilometers across the desert.
You can go there in a pair of shorts and a t-shirt the whole week, and I think you'll feel out. You'll go back wishing you had made some effort and done something. It is kind of camping at the extreme, because you need to be self-sufficient.
It's kind of hard to put into words. You've got to actually experience it.
Well, it's that time again. We've woken up on the last morning and I suppose we need to head home. But I could literally spend a lot more days out here because this place, well, it's just good for your soul.
Good for your soul, good for your well-being, good for your spirit. See where this is going? Being out here on these bikes translates into absolute happiness, and we will be back soon.
This is true because when you travel around on a motorcycle, you experience the land and the environment like nobody else can. But anyway, until next time when we're exploring the Overberg,
Ride safe.
and look after yourselves.
Look what you're missing. Look what you're missing. Come along, I'll take you there. An adventure we can share. There is a place. There is a moment. There is a feeling, an escape from your ordinary way.